Hello everybody! Today we'll be covering the basic tutorial for Zi Wei Dou Shu Calculator. To start things off, let's plot a Zi Wei Dou Shu chart for the renowned actor Johnny Depp. Let's take it step by step. First, we have his name, Johnny Depp, and he's born on the 9th of June, 1963. Alright, now next his birth time is born on 8:44 in the morning. So here we can easily plot his birth time with the 24-hour system. Next, we have the gender, male, and he's born in Kentucky, US. So this field is for solar time purposes. Notes is optional, okay, and finally his category, celebrities, and save chart, Johnny Depp. Alright, so next, we have this intuitive and simple Zi Wei Dou Shu chart for you to use. Now, let's say we want to see how is his wealth. We can just simply click on wealth, and then we can see that wealth flies a lute to spouse forming a lu quan, and a Zi to friends clashing siblings. Alright, so for this web app, we can see that his birth time is different from his original one, 8:44, right? That's because it's adjusted for solar time. That's calculated based on his location, which is Kentucky, US, as we can see after hovering here. Next, about the hovering, right? We can see that his birth date is 9th of June 1963. We can hover over it and we can see his lunar birth date is 18th of the 4th month of 1963. Alright, we can look over at the right side. We can see that it is 9th of July 2024. That's today's date. And today's date in lunar style is 4th of the 6th month of 2024. Let's look a bit higher and we can see that his current luck decade is 54 to 63. Alright, so what if we want to see a previous decade or the next decade? We can simply click on the top right. You see 64 to 73, we can see his next decade by simply clicking here, and automatically the decade shifts to 64 and 73. Alright, there's another way to do this. That's by clicking on the decade period box, which is over here. Alright, all these boxes can be clicked. Let's say click here and then we are at the 74 to 83 years old decade. Same goes for the year. Top right, we can click on 2039 and the year shifts to 2039. We can do the same thing by clicking on the period year boxes, which is like, let's say we click here, year self changes to here, and it's 2038 now instead of 2039. Alright, let's look at the functions at the bottom. So we can start with character profile. Right, here we have a person's character profile, all in text. Next we have his life purpose as well. Alright, let's close that and move on to chart highlights. Chart highlights, we have the important but sihuas that you may have missed out, right? Let's say 2039, you have decade parents clashing parents, right? So it reflects on the real chart over here. We click on decade parents and it sees to wealth, to health, and then clashes parents. Alright, then we have annual flies and formations as well. Next, let's move on to quick settings. We have birth hour testing. Let's say this box over here. You can shift click and you can see that Johnny Depp's personality fits a Tian Liang, right? But maybe it doesn't fit a Tian Liang, so you can change an hour. He shifts to the 4 hour and himself shifts to here. So maybe he's Lian Zhen. Lian Zhen is like a multi-talented person. Maybe he's like romantic, right? So if everything fits, you can hit update chart over here. But of course, we have to use all of the boxes to see whether it fits a person or not, such as tracking their life events of their marriages, divorces, or their business successes, and so on. Alright, here we have quick settings and print. Alright, close that, and we have additional notes. You can input a person's extra notes, like something that you want to highlight in this chart. Let's say for Johnny Depp, you can click edit, and you can write anything you want, such as 2003 he got a rose for Pirates of the Caribbean, 2015 married Amber Heard, and 2021 he went to lawsuit with Amber Heard. So you can hit save changes and it will save your changes, and you can hit additional notes again and you can see all your notes that you have added here. Alright, let's look at the functions on the right. So the functions on the right includes feng shui directions. So this is convenient for you to see the directions for general usage in Chinese metaphysics. Right, so we know that Wu is south and Zi is north, right? But it's a lot of different palaces, which shows a lot of different degrees that you have to memorize. So with this function, it helps to display all of the degrees and directions over here. Alright, next. we have the childhood decade function. For a lot of people who are not familiar with 紫微斗数, we may guess that the first decade is here, right? You can click 4 to 13 and the first decade is here. But that's not so accurate. So a lot of schools has their own calculations and they believe that there is something called the childhood decade. This function does all the calculation for you. And when you click childhood decade, automatically it switches the decade. So it's no longer in this box over here, decade itself is not here, but instead for Johnny Depp, the decade itself is here for his childhood decade. So that's a convenient feature. Next, we have sticky connectors. So sticky connectors, you can have multiple 丝花 from more than one box, right? So let's say we have the spouse, decade spouse, right? We want to fly here, and then it flies to here, right? Let's say you want to follow up. When it lose to here, then where does it end? So it flies Zi to here, right? So this is a convenient way to follow and see where it ends to tell a fuller story of an event. So for those who are interested in sun, her stars, right? So we have this feature which adds on some sun, her stars at the bottom of the chart. So you can see the 14 main stars brightness as well as the auxiliary stars. Lastly, you may have noticed these little arrows over here. These are arrows to signify the 流处 or 逆水化. Of course, there are many more features that are not shown today, but these will cover the basics for this tutorial. Thank you and happy charting!